Hey everybody. Well,
Hi
welcome. It's
everyone.
7:59. I lied. It's not 8 p.m. It's
My clock says
7:59 p.m.
8 p.m.
Yeah, no, mine just changed to 8 p.m. So maybe well, I mean, like on time is late. Isn't that the way it goes? Oh man. How are we doing everyone? Not that we can hear you and not that I half pay attention to the channel chat, but um I'll pretend
That's
you all said we're doing great. Our millions of totally real life 48 plans. Yes, so we normally stream on Tuesday, don't we, Jacob?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, and I was sick, so we didn't stream on Tuesday.
Someone
Uh,
had to go and get sick.
yeah, but someone just has to go to Tasmania next week, so
Yeah, that's also true.
yeah, so the next one will probably be like Thursday, 2 weeks away, because that's Thursday's our backup night for doing stuff, which is great for like services that work best when you do things on the reg. So we figure why not do it on the reg?
Yep.
Oh man,
Uh,
jeez. Uh, on on a fun note, we had Facebook got in some drama. That was fun reading
yeah,
about that.
they did a good job.
Admittedly, Google did exactly the same thing, but somehow has escaped the drama. Um, I mean, I don't like Facebook, but I have my doubts about Google as well.
Yeah.
Oh, 75. It actually says there's only three viewers, mate. It said six before. Where did three people disappear
Yeah,
to?
I know.
They
Three people
probably
got bored of our intro music.
they probably heard my dulcet tones and were like, "You're weird." Okay, so uh, today we're doing something a bit different. So Reddish was the box that was. Oh man, I just had like a testy cough. Uh, so Reddish.
Reddish.
No, Reddish was the box that was had made public this week or retired. Uh,
Yep.
we haven't done any of the super hard boxes on Hack the Box, and we thought
Nope.
briefly about grabbing someone else's write up and running through that. We thought, where's the fun in that? Like, you can go and watch some YouTube video on how it's done. Um, we kind of
It
enjoy,
won't have the those guys flair.
yeah, or lack of flair. Uh, it won't have our brilliant execution or lack thereof.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's just because it's easy enough to go and rip off other people's guides and run through them. We like to write our own
Yeah.
and run through that and kind of talk about the random stuff we found while we were doing it.
Yeah.
Um,
But rest
someone's
assured, we're working on Ethereal at the moment, so
yeah,
hopefully we get it done before it's retired, and then we
yes.
can write up a really hard box.
Although the box they're retiring next, we have a write up for as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So
But when it
um,
comes around to the next really hard box, we should have one.
yeah. Uh, moving on. So what we are going to do is we thought we'd play around with automating some of the stuff on sec notes. So,
Yes.
um, oh wow, your name changed to Pink, Mork Walker, in my chat.
Yeah, it
Um,
happened to me.
what's Dab's being retired next.
Yeah, Dab's being retired this week.
So we've done that one. That was quite a fun one. Couple of little tricky bits, and not really that tricky, but some interesting stuff. Um, so looking forward to that. So this week instead, we're going to automate some of what we did with sec notes. So if you watched the last one or the YouTube video that I uploaded, which probably no one watched, but I don't know why I'm being so passive aggressive. I don't care if people watch it or not. We just upload it there. There's a couple of different steps you could go through that we thought we could automate. So there was a bit where you uh, put a PHP file in your reverse shell on a SMB share, which happens to be the root folder of for IIS. Then you go to the PHP file, do your standard sort of code injection-y sort of stuff to run your reverse shell and get a callback. We thought it'd be cool to try and go through the process of automating that completely so that you start a script and it goes and handles all that for you. Right before we started, we actually took things a step further and thought, could we automate getting the credentials for that NAS share from the website? So this is a bit like a super ghetto, like Metasploit as a framework is very, very fancy, and I'm not even going to pretend that this is anything close to that, but kind of in a similar vein of the Metasploit, own this box for me, please. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where we're going to start, which hence this lovely bit of mess right here. So what we started with was creating our user on. So if you remember on Sec Notes, one of the the first stepping stone was finding this site. Actually, is there a logout button here somewhere? I can't see one. Sign out. There it is. So you find this thing, and then you sign up and you register with some SQL injection. And when you do that, what happens, and I'll just do the lazy thing, that SQL in your username executes when the query runs. Jake explained it last week. Go watch the YouTube video if you want to find it. But effectively, I've got that much automated in Python already. Took about 15 minutes of my usual method of coding, which is write some code, try it, error, fix said code, error, Google, find that I've done something dumb, fix it, it works, move on to the next thing, rinse and repeat. So what we're doing is we're posting off our registration request with our username. The prefix bit here is just because if you try and register with an already registered username, you'll get an error. So I just made it so that when you run this thing, you get an error because I renamed the file, didn't I? So if we say just to L, bam, and then that logs in, so that registers, then logs in with that username, and then searches through the returned HTML for any divs that match our particular class you want to find. We know it's the last one in our list of divs, so that's what that's doing. And then the line returns, and we get, so if I scroll, actually I can just open this one up because this is where I was testing stuff. We get this little bit here with the username password, so we just grab that and split it, the space / space, and that gets us a username and password. That's pretty ghetto at the moment, but that is fine. So password, we go username equals creds. We'll just get I'll just spend a quick bit of autocomplete. Gotta love it. Time neatening this up. Password equals creds 1. Also, I have not yet commented any of this, so that's useful. I'll also get rid of this and login request status code instead. And then print got username and password, and then lazy plus username plus that plus password. And if something doesn't work, this will just error out nastily, which is always entertaining. Sweet, that works. Where was the other print? Where's this garbage coming from?
The top one.
Oh, of course. Yep. Radio. So that's nothing too fancy. That was just to be amusing. So kind of the next step I wanted to move on to, you could abstract this away into functions, and maybe I'll do that at some stage and make it all nice and pretty. So getting SMB creds from site. So step 2 is so what the other thing I've done, and Jake mentioned this last week, is I've got a reverse shell that I created. So I'll just go and open up, I think it's just code. That old chestnut. It doesn't like me running is root. But it's Carly, who cares? So I wrote this reverse shell following, there was a, a handy guide for running one. I got sick of using Metasploit reverse shell, so I figured out I'd just go and find something that talks about it. So there's a link to the blog I followed along with for creating this, and then I've tweaked some bits, but effectively it uses a bunch of legacy Windows APIs. So this WinSock 2.h is actually legacy. Visual Studio complains when you try and use it, but it works. So using MinGW to cross compile for Windows, I'm compiling it on Kali because it doesn't work too well with Visual Studio Code. It ends up being like 87 KB, whereas it's 11 or 13 KB doing it on Linux. So, but my presumption in using the legacy libraries here is that they don't get flagged the same way as newer ones do as reverse shells through AV. Jake, you ran a virus total check, didn't you?
Yeah, only one of them picked it up as a low severity.
Yep. So
potential malware or something it called it. But yeah, otherwise it was signature free and no one else picked up on it.
Yep. So part of our automation. So if you use Metasploit, you may notice that when you generate reverse shells using MSF Venom, you just go, the local host and the local port are this. Give me my reverse shell, and it'll go and sort it out for you. So I've gotten as far as how did I get the terminal? New terminal. There we go. So I've gone as far as creating a make file that I can just pass in. So if I go history/make, that doesn't do what I want it to do because I need to go grep. Sweet, that's what I want. So using a couple of like compile time define. So in C, define simply is a way of saying, so here's an example of a define for bufflen. They think of them like globals. So you go, when you compile, create a variable called default bufflen 1024. You can also, if I go into my make file and have a look here, this is a lot of low level stuff, so apologies, but you can add a -D flag, which means does the same thing as including a define in the code. So basically that means when I compile it and telling it what specific IP address and port to compile with. I'm probably jumping through stuff way too quick. If I see comments going to explain stuff better, I'll try and pull back. If you've got questions, feel free to ask them. Yeah. Okay. So I just mental blanked. Anyway, so if I try and compile this, make, and so attack host is the machine you're attacking from, and then the port is what you're listening on your local machine. So if I say 10.14.5, which is my box, I'm pretty sure if I set it to 5 ones, it'll compile. And then if I go if config, yes, no, I'm 10.10.14.8. So let's recompile. Bam. So then, for the sake of so that's sec notes. Oh, did you just drop off, Jacob? Half a second. Jake just disappeared. Enjoy the sound of a Skype call, everybody. Yep. Rip. Hey, Jacob. You disappeared.
Was that my internet or yours?
The stream didn't drop.
Oh, okay. It was probably mine then.
And was that Google? No. I just swear I heard another voice, but I have a Google Home that I keep forgetting to turn off. Yeah, who cares? I'm just not going to say the magic words that make it talk. I'll share my screen with you again, Jacob.
Okay, cool.
Half a sec. Share. Okay. Yeah, I don't care, Skype. Yeah, we're using Skype for like screen sharing now because it shares at higher res than Discord does without paying for it. Although it's because I have an Office 365 thing. Anyway, all of that aside, So hopefully, just thinking what I'll do. Just have to move a file around. So if I go CP, and then it should be projects, rev, and then build, and then so it gets us that there. So I'm just going through what we went through on sec notes, where you push the PHP file and the reverse shell to the server. IAS was listening on 8808. So bam, there's that. Yeah, and now I just need to remember what the SMB magic was, which is easy enough because I can just look at a handy. We use a Confluence to do our write-ups, and then we move them over. So I'll just maybe remember how to hide this side panel. I am a power user of all things internet. Where are we?
Yeah, we were using Discord screen share, but because Reece was using a 4K monitor, which was downscaling to 1080p, and then Discord
downscaling to 720p. It was
Discord would downscale it again to 720p, and then we'd stream it to Twitch, and it was just blurry and crappy. So now,
to use an old meme, how do you like watching potatoes, kids? Because that's what it was like. And then his password was this magic. Bam. On the box. And then it's put cmd.php and put rev.exe, and I just realized netcat, and it was 5 ones. And let's hope I haven't screwed this up. And we go to cmd.php. Jacob, remind
question
me.
Mark.
Yeah. Question mark, and it was cmd
equals.
Yeah. Because I forgot that bit. And then bam. So reverse shell. And so the intent of the rest of this is to automate that. So step 1 is the compilation's already like semi-automated with make, but basically it's from Python call make, and in Python, that's right, that doesn't quite work that well. The reverse shell's meant to kill the connection when you type exit. It doesn't quite work like that because I need to figure that one out. So if I go back to PyCharm now, because we don't need go away Visual Studio Code. You know what? I could have looked at all of that in PyCharm. I don't know why I opened up Visual Studio Code just to do that. Okay. So if we go back here, so where we've got to is we've got the username and password from the SMB share. So I've automated that much. In the real world, I especially tend to use Python when I'm testing like APIs. So automating a lot of that kind of guff, especially when you've got 5 layers of business logic to get through before you get to an actual API. But it's also useful for screen scraping. Handy library called Beautiful Soup is useful for treating HTML. Like it'll read the HTML kind of like tree structure. I'm sure it's got a DOM. That's right. It reads the DOM, and then you can kind of parse it for things you're looking for and get the values of the text. So it's pretty handy. So next step is automating our compilation. So what we want to do is take a couple of arguments in our script for the IP address and port. So we want to import arg pass, if I can type properly. Man, I'm the messiest typer on the face of the earth. So arg pass is pretty straightforward. Pass dot argument parser, or parser. I should say. I should pronounce that better. And also, I should type argparse properly, because because I suck.
Pros.
Radio. And then we want to go parser.add argument. And then we want to call that argument attack IP. Actually, you know what? I'll type it out properly. And then we want to add another argument. I should probably put this up the top, but called attack port. So this is the location where we want to. Why have I blanked?
The listener port and the listening IP.
Yeah. So this is, we want to set these values when we run the script. Very conveniently via arguments. I'll put them up here. You know what I managed to do is I managed to somehow copy. There's nothing like a live demonstration.
Nope.
One day I have dreams that were actually competent, and I get to laugh about these times. The reality is it's never going to change. Strap in, kids. Get used to it.
Get used to it.
Parser add argument. Okay, and then we want to go. Our args equals parser dot pass args, and we can. So if I go auto python auto own.py -- help argparse does some magic for us. Bam! There's like wants a couple of positional arguments. Cool. From here, we then want to run our make command and parse those two values we just got in. So we use another Python library called subprocess. If I can spell properly. So you used to use, what was it,
System.os.
Yeah. os.system.
os.system, yeah.
os.system, man. That's kind of considered out of date in modern Python. So you use subprocess, so which spawns a different process. So system essentially uses the existing Python process. This in theory is just as vulnerable to command injection if you use it in the wrong place, but in our case it's fine, it's not a problem. So our compile command, so I'll just create a variable for that, equals, and then we want to run our make. I have pre-prepared what I'm going to paste in here so that you didn't have to sit through everything I typed in. So this is getting, it is called args. Why don't you like me? Unresolved references, my ass. Let's double check. Nope, you can't find them. Oh, that's why.
It's not called, yeah.
Well, that's probably not actually it. It probably can't even find. Welcome to my life. Self references args. Yeah, args. Args. They're there. It still doesn't like me. Oh, end of line. Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna double check. So if I go, yeah, there's args. Okay, it's something else it doesn't like when I pasted that in. Genius. So keep mental blanking. It's nothing like a live demonstration.
Just delete the arg stuff and manually type that bit in. See if it decides to pick up on it.
Yeah. So attack host equals, and then we want to go plus args dot attack. What did I call it? So it was attack IP and attack port. Plus, plus, I forgot. No, it was just port. In the make file equals args dot attack port. Just Double check I got that correct. That is correct.
Plus it up.
So what was that?
Plus it up.
Yeah, you are correct.
It's still not finding it though, is it?
No, it's found it. It's all good.
Oh, okay. The other
When
Uggs was red underlined
I
because
don't
of the
know.
plus.
When in doubt, retype.
Fair enough.
All good. All good. I don't need the string there anymore because I'm just taking that as a string already. And then we want to run that out to our subprocess. So I'm going to say, it's lazy, just call proc equals subprocess.popen. And then we want our compile. So one of the funny things about popen is it doesn't take a string, just pass it straight through. It needs an array of each component of the command you're running. So that's what I've done here. So it just splits it at these spaces, which gives it what it wants, and it runs. So if I go and delete the... Oh man, this .vs code folder. Goodbye. If I go and just delete the entire build folder, because I sorted that out in the make file so that it just creates it.
Nice.
This is going to run everything from scratch again, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fine.
Screw it.
It doesn't take that long.
Oh, no, that's not that. It's so if I just go chuck something arbitrary in and port 9123, and then give it that. Yay! Because I screwed up. This is welcome to my life again. This is, by the way, just to clarify, this is not a tutorial on how to properly use Python. I normally hack stuff together and then go back through and clean it all up. So you'll find a lack of refactoring, a lack of putting things in functions, too many for loops when I should be using list comprehensions, and tons of other nasty crap just to get it working. That's the school I come from. Get it working, and then if it needs it, fix it up.
Yep, that's my way of coding too.
So we got interesting. That worked before when I deleted the thing. Yeah. Let me just double check it's not like screw something up.
It didn't add the dport, it just added the DIP equals space 9000. So seeing your output.
Yeah, I'm looking. Yeah. So DIP is that, and then just okay. Port equals dport. Yeah, because yeah. So maybe it's automatically converted that to an integer. Argparse, I think, might do some of that sort of stuff. Oh, good. No such file or directory. Still doesn't like me. What did I break, Jake?
I don't know. It's still not adding that DIP up in the dport. What equals dport?
Yeah. This is mildly frustrating. This was working fine. Let me go. Luckily, because this bit is in the Git repo, I can just go to GitHub and double check it all matches, that I haven't changed anything. Make file. Yeah, that's all the same. CC C flags, attack location. Attack location is that and that. Dport is attack port. What have I done wrong, Jacob?
Good question.
What is wrong with my life?
What's wrong with that string?
Oh. Wait a second.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. Screwing it up since 1989. Yes,
There
that
we
is the
go.
year I was born. No, it wasn't. It's not the year I was born. I was born in 47. The war had just ended. Um,
Well,
cool.
1901, according to numerous forums around the internet.
Yeah, Facebook, when I had a Facebook account, thought I was like 67, and all my friends were like, what?
What?
Uh, to clarify, deport. So the way I'll quickly run through Make. So Make is an automation uh, a framework application. It's ancient, and it breaks down a set of tasks into tasks and dependencies, and it figures out what needs to happen before other things. So what this does is, so if I space it out a bit more so it's easier to read, um,
You could have been getting paid $20 a month by them.
by Facebook.
Yeah, 13 was within their age range.
Yeah, I'm not 35 yet either. Sorry, no, I was born in 1947. I'm too old. Okay, so the way Make works is you set up a bunch of rules, and the only rule I've got set up is build my C file. So what this says is the dependency on this rule is that a file called rev.c exists. If that file exists, run this. What I then have is, so CC just stands for C compiler. You could call it anything you want. It doesn't really matter, but it's all convention. In this case, our C compiler is MinGW. As I learnt, MinGW, or which stands for like minimum GNU something something something, minimum GNU for Windows, is the Windows version of GCC. Because I spent ages trying to figure out all of the, like a bunch of the command flags for this, and I couldn't find anything until someone said it's GCC. This thing is just to stop it from freaking out with the build directory, because I've got the whole, where is it in C flags? Like it uses the build directory to create a directory called build. Data exists, this doesn't run properly, so this is apparently some fancy thing you can do with make, so it'll ignore that. C flags is just all of the flags for the compiler. In this case, it's, I'm pretty sure, doing things like obfuscating strings, ignoring exceptions, bunch of other stuff to make it harder to spot. I'm still learning about stuff this low level, so you have to excuse me there. These are defaults for attack host and attack port. Of course, it's attack port. It was just there. So if you put nothing in, it'll just use those. But when you enter something in at the command line, it overrides. So that's how this kind of works. And then -D is just another flag for this. If you notice, it shows up here, so it just gets appended to the string. And -D is the define. That is to say, when you compile this, treat the value of this variable. So if I look at what happened when it ran, so with like DIP, add this variable into the compiled code with this value. And then in the compiled code, so if I go to rev.c, oh, this even syntax highlights C. That's brilliant. Notice I've got IP and port, but nowhere else in the document, so nowhere else in this source file, I write too many Word docs, I call this a document. Nowhere else in the source file have I actually defined what those variables are. They come from when you compile. So that's why the -D is there. It's not dport, it's -D and then no space port. Just to overcomplicate all of that, as I am wont to do. So thanks for hanging in to a very long-winded explanation. Oh man. Yeah, I've probably broken something by doing this, but who cares?
No, as long as it goes back to no changes, you're fine.
Yeah. All good. Okay, so if I go back to here, so this is our compilation, and that's what we ran. So now we have the username, the password, and our compiled binary for reverse engineering. We now
shell.
need our reverse shell. What did I say?
reverse engineering.
Far out. I had 8.5 hours of sleep last night. What is wrong with me? Yeah, reverse shell. Um, right. So the other things we need now, with that IIS server, we needed to bootstrap our reverse shell with a PHP file. So I can basically just take the PHP file from our thing, or I can just use this slightly different one I've got that just directly runs the reverse shell. So if I go new file and call it cd.php, actually no, we'll call it rev.php just to be cooler. I don't know why I said cooler. Treat it as text, yes. I feel dirty writing PHP, which is why I copied and pasted it. So that should be enough to run our executable when we copy it to the server. So, which then means the next step is in Python, how do we copy something via SMB? And you'll be happy to know that there is a way to do that. There is a library called PySMB that someone created, kind of old school. Also, even though it's called PySMB, what you import is something else entirely, which always makes for a good day. Oh, my bad, it's from... I always do this. Import SMB connection. And I need to add another keyword here, otherwise it won't work. Sweet. And SMB magic here. Alright, so what we want to do is set up our connection to the sec notes box. So SMB connection. And then we want our username, our password. We have to, so SMB uses NetBIOS for like name resolution. So we need to give it something that we're calling ourselves. That literally doesn't matter, but we have to get the remote name correct. I tried using NetBIOS to get it from the IP address. Needless to say, that didn't really work out. Luckily, our Nmap scan, if I jump back over here, gives us the host name, so secnotes. So that solves that for us. So specifically, it's the NetBIOS name, not the normal host name. So not like the DNS name or anything like that. Use NTLM2 version true, and then is direct TCP equals true. So this is because reading up on how the protocol works, and don't quote me on it, but the way it works is like legacy SMB is you talk to the like NetBIOS service on the server, and it'll tell you where to talk to on the server to connect via SMB, or you can just say I'm connecting to this port and ignore all that NetBIOS stuff, which is how modern SMB works. So then we go connect, and it's the IP, so 10.10.10.97, and the port is 445. Because that, if you look at our Nmap scan, that's what we're listening on. Cool bananas. So in order to double check this is working, let's have a look at and see if we can list everything that's on the share that we can access. Conduct, it's list path, and then service name. You may notice that I'm doing some of these variables named and some of them not, because when I was experimenting with this earlier, I was running into some issues with just parsing them in unnamed. So there's a handy feature in Python though. If you're ever in doubt, you can just explicitly name them. And then with the joy of all the auto completion you get in something like PyCharm, it'll tell you what's there. Cool. And then I'm going to chuck in a cheeky list comprehension. File name for file in files. And then if I run this now, give it some garbage. All that's doing when it stops and I type something in is it's changing the SQL injection. I think I mentioned this right at the top. Bam. So we get a list of, beg your pardon, I just had a, we've got our list of files. That is very good. So now what we want to do is put a file or a couple of files on the server. So what we want to do is open our files as objects and then parse those objects to the functionality that sends files, and we're away. So with open, so there's more than one way to open a file in Python. This is just one way to do it. It means you don't have to worry about closing the file handles. It just does it for you. So if we want to open rev.php, and also you have to open them as binary because, so that's what RB is read and then B is binary. It defaults to trying to open them as like ASCII files, and it freaks out as rev php is what we call that. Then we go con.store file, and then we want to store it on in the new site share, and we want to call it rev.php and file object equals rev_php. Then we want to do the same thing for the executable. So I'm just going to be super lazy and copy everything. I'm doing a lot of talking, so apologies for hearing too much of my voice. You still there, Jake?
Yep, I'm still here.
Sweet. You haven't fallen asleep?
Nope, I'm happily following along.
That's good.
Yeah.
Happily following along. That's a surprise. Xe and Xe. And then we'll want to do like another list all the files. Just to double check they made it. Okay. So let's see what we get now. Give it some more garbage and and that's interesting. You know why? You know why, Jacob? Because I didn't actually get an update on the file list. I just
list. Yeah, you printed the same list twice.
Oh boy. Oh well, I can just run that again. Actually, I should then just be able to go, because I'm 14.8, aren't I? So I just need to change this. So we can try this now. If I start a LNVP, let's use good old port 1337, Jacob.
Feeling pretty late today.
We're going back to like our teenage years when like calling stuff. I remember when I saw a petrol station that had a price of $1.33.7, and I was so happy. I was like, oh, petrol's leaked today. Just double checking I am 14.8, and I will listen on port 1337. Go. And
it's waiting for garbage.
Oh yeah, thanks Jacob for reminding me how my own code works. Sweet. So our stuff's on the box, and to double check we've gotten this far, I just have to find my web browser again and run rev.php. Please work.
Does it still need the command argument, or did you change the PHP script? Okay, yeah, you
Oh
just changed it.
yeah. Okay, so we're that far. So I didn't even have. Yeah. Okay. So next step is automating the execution of that PHP file. That's actually really really easy. Uh,
Yes.
so let's set that up to listen again. Um, uh, so this one. So another handy Python library. You could try and use URL but there's an even easier one. Request.get, and the URL is, if we go back to here, bam, just copy that bad boy. Okay.
You
So,
got double HTTP.
oh, Firefox. Oh, yeah, I know what happened there. Firefox handily doesn't show you it in the URL bar, so you don't think it's there. Okay. So, we've got our. Oh, you know what, Jacob?
Distant.
It's still running on the server. So the way
Yeah.
this thing, one of the things this thing does is, if I go here, so here's my crappy randomness to try and. So one of the things, the blog post that I kind of followed along to do this talks about is, uh, this does something called beaconing, and that is it'll sit there and keep trying to talk to your device that's going to catch the reverse shell, or your command and control server, whatever you're going to call it, and it does something called beaconing. Well, sorry, that's called beaconing when it just at a regular interval tries to connect. The handy thing is that means if your reverse shell dies, you just start your listener again and you get your reverse shell back.
Yeah.
However, one of the things is if you've got anything monitoring firewalls and firewall like flow logs, and you're looking for regular connections, or you've got an IDS that's looking for regular connections, then you've got a bit of a problem. It's easy to track. So one of the suggestions was randomize that connection value, which is what this does. It looks between so it delays for between 2 and 7 seconds. However, I'm not using good randomness. I'm just using like crappy randomness here. Like I think, where am I actually calling? Yeah, this bad boy. So that's not actually very strong. It's not secure randomness. I don't know if that matters in this context. However, I suppose if someone had put the effort of getting kind of all the crappy random seeds off their servers and whatever, either way, it's not strong for analysis. So it's just a ghetto version of randomness. I spoke too much about that. Anyway, but also what I included was this max tries thing. So it'll try 10 times before it stops. Specifically in this circumstance where I've left it running and I can't be bothered, I could just change the port, I suppose. Let's see if I get a connection. If I don't, it's finished.
I thought exit would. I thought that killed it, but it obviously doesn't. Maybe we need to fix that too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got some improvement to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks for exit n, and then if that's in the last received block of data, maybe it is exit, and I didn't do that. I just did one exit.
No, you did too. Oh, you control C though.
Yeah. Anyway,
Oh.
I'm not getting any connections, so I can rerun this. Give it some crap. I could actually just make that a random string, and that'd solve that for me. And bam. Okay, so I got my connection. The final step is I don't want to have to spin up my own TCP listener. So here is a super ghetto receiver that I created. It basically does what Netcat does, but crapper. So you set what it's going to listen on. And it just uses the sockets library. Nothing particularly special up until this point where it'll send the first enter that you have to send to start getting useful stuff back from the server. Something I learnt is you have to make it do time.sleep, otherwise you get like your responses out of sync with your requests, and so you type dir, and then you just get the word dir back because of the way it's plumbed into the standard in and standard out. It always echoes out the command you've just run plus the results. Except the results take a second longer, and so this dumb thing thinks, "Oh, I've got my data, dir," and then you type your next command, say ipconfig, and what it does is shows you the results from the dir command, so you get a list of the things, and then you type dir again to get a list, and you get the IPs. So making it wait here for a period of time. So you got a tuning factor so that you can, if you're starting to get stuff starting to glitch out, you just tune that to make it work better. But this should almost just be a cheeky copy pasta. Where are we? Back to autoown.py. And we want to... Oh, I've got to figure out, though, when to run this. Actually, I can run it beforehand. Because it'll keep looping, so it gives me some time to set stuff up. Quick, Jacob, what was the arg pass? It was args.port, wasn't it? Attack port.
Port, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for being my memory.
That's okay.
So that what this will do is it'll automatically listen on the port that we want it to, so we don't have to remember and get it wrong like I always do.
Yeah.
And then we need to import
Time.
socket and import all of time.
All of time.
Starting at the year 0 and ending in the year 1998. Anything after 1998 is garbage.
Fair enough.
Okay, so blindly, let's just choose a different port for the sake of it. Let's pick 18,000.
I was going to say you could do 31337 for elite,
Oh yeah,
but that's fine.
that's dangerous if you Jacob.
18,000 works as well.
And okay, so it appears that it deletes PHP files, but not anything else, Jacob.
Yeah, the auto cleanup must only delete the PHP stuff.
Okay, I think it's going to sit there until I get a connection. Yeah. Let's wait patiently for a little bit longer and then figure out what broke.
Should only be between 2 and 7 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Something broke.
Stop bind.
S-bind listen port. So, when you set the args attack port is a string. Yeah, there. Yeah.
Oh, this should be an integer.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I thought I had to pass it as a string earlier. Anyway, screw it. I can't be asked figuring out why. Now is not the time. I'm going to actually have to choose a different. We're going to go E31337. Going to go Bob.
Bob owned you.
This is the quiet bit, and as we found, this is where everyone stops watching when we start being quiet. So Jacob, how was your day?
Too bad.
Not too bad.
Pretty standard developer day, I guess.
Yeah, gotta love pretty standard.
Yeah.
Listen IP, listen port. There we go.
You got it.
Bam. Okay, it just took a while. That was all.
Did the front
probably
fall off?
because it misses the first cycle or two while it's doing stuff.
The front of what?
So what was that?
I don't know. The front fell off.
Oh, did the front fall off? Yes, but this perfectly safe. So I work with Mark Walker, and he showed me a funny YouTube video about, what was it like what's the guy's name? He's like some comedian who does all these shorts, like serious news shorts. And one of them was, actually, let's see if I'm going to experiment here. I'm going to see if something works.
Clark and Door.
Did the front fall off YouTube? We're gonna see. Try that again. Yeah. Anyway, they're just like these two Australian dudes who, like, it was the 7:30 report. They all showed up on the end of.
That was
So
good.
we lost. We lost you, Jacob.
I
Also,
think I think Skype will, because I muted my mic so that I could hear it.
Ah, okay.
Skype thought that I was idle for too long and disconnected me.
Anyway, the joke is, like, talks about this front falling off this oil tanker.
Oh, I
And it's
listened
just
to
like,
it. Yeah, it was
yeah,
good.
yeah. Anyway, quality stuff. I spent way too much time this afternoon cruising through some of that channel's videos. Clark and Door. Yeah, it's like 7:30 report. They all showed up on, and like the guy who was bald showed up in a TV series called The Games, which was like a sitcom kind of thing, mockumentary about the Olympic Games in Australia in 2000. It's pretty funny. Anyway, all of that said, we've got our reverse shell. I think. Yes, I think I need to change the tuning factor. So this is what was happening, right? Is so it's something else I can do. I can go CD up, and bang, it's just given me the last command I ran, and then it's gone up. So all I have to do there. So if I go exit, okay, exit twice seemed to have. Yeah. Okay, cool. Oh, good. And if I go Control C, all I need to do is just.
We've got a fully automated Python shell in PyCharm.
Yep. Oh, it's ghetto AF, which is
Yeah.
how I roll. Every time I've ever done a pen test, there's always like these really garbage scripts I've thrown together where it's like, I could do like a try except clause here to catch if something goes wrong, or I could just let Python error out if something doesn't work. It's fine. That's what it's for. So if I change,
that's why we need a tuning factor.
so if I change this to 1, so it's not quite how Netcat works. It's just like ghetto, super ghetto. So if I change that to 1 second, it'll take even longer. But if I change this to, bam. Okay, so run and type in some garbage, which I should abstract it, like change that so we don't have to. This poor Hack the Box is going to have like 1,000,001 just random users.
Random users on it.
And then we wait. And I should probably add some like print statements to go, this is where I'm up to.
Getting you a reverse shell, sire.
Yes. Winning.
My lord.
This bit just takes a bit. Probably because, by the time as soon as the reverse shell executes, it starts looking, but it's waiting 2 to 7 seconds.
Yeah.
There we go. And we have reverse shell. Yeah, see, now it works properly because I've waited that full second. So if I go dir, it'll be slow, but it works properly.
You get the full output, yeah.
Yeah. And that's just because of the way the TCP buffer works, and I can't be asked to try and work around it. Handy thing here, though, this little bit of logic, which when it's receiving data, checks if it'll keep going until it's gotten everything from the buffer, so that if you do receive a response that's bigger than 1024 bytes, you'll get all of it. But I'm still not 100% sure how it works in the background, so I need to learn about that. But for now, my ghetto, just wait until everything's come back from the box we're controlling. In theory, from here, we can follow the rest of the kind of write up to get full access. But it's like almost 9, or it is 9. Where is it?
Yeah, so you can script, if you wanted to continue automating this, we could script the ins and wait for the output again. And
it's not that hard to then just do like a con dot send
Whatever
cd
the first
dot
command was.
whatever the commands you want to run. You probably wouldn't actually do all of that in a loop. You just do it in sequence and have sleeps in between all of them just to make sure they run properly. But that'd be fairly easy to fully do, so that in theory you could automate the nmap scan and go, right, I found the port I'm looking for, but we know all of that. But just thought it'd be fun to try and see how much of this we could automate in an hour. And we did do a little bit of pre-work to speed some of it up. But that's basically it. So I might clean this up a little bit. Actually, no, what I'll do is I'll commit what's here so far to that repo. There's a branch called, I think it's like SecNotes
Auto sec notes or something. Yeah.
SecNotes Auto Shell is what I called it on GitHub, the branch. So I'll do that, and then I might clean it up and stuff. So you can go and have a look at this ghetto version,
The
or
raw ghetto version.
nicer versions that I might get around to at some point to make it prettier. But yeah, that was
go at Sizzle. No, sorry, we haven't yet.
No. So yeah, this is probably what we'll do when we're not we don't have like a HTTP box that we've done with we can kind of work through.
Yeah.
Again, don't want to just follow other people's guides, because there's and a bunch of them already have YouTube videos where the guys have done the run through, so it almost feels like cheating to just go and follow their guide.
Yeah. I haven't had a lot of time to do Hack the Box recently, so I'm like 5 boxes behind at the moment, I think. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm a bit behind as well. This is the problem when you've got like a 9 to 5. You come home and you're exactly. Like, I could do like Hack the Box, or I could play PlayStation.
So the last box I did in terms of release dates was Chaos. So we've got all the way up to Chaos, basically.
Yeah, I've done Chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's just they're the hard ones. And the hard ones, it's more my level of patience. Like, they're multi-day boxes where you walk away, you let it percolate, you figure out some other options, you go back at it. Context IS. The name is familiar.
I haven't heard of them. I might have if I look them up.
I'm guessing they're some sort of
cybersecurity consultants.
Yeah.
No, I've not heard of them.
Yeah, I think they might have been a sponsor on a podcast I listened to or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you were saying, I've pretty much been spending like an hour an evening sort of thing trying to get Ethereal done, because that's going to be retired before the ones down the bottom of the list, and it would be really good to do our own walkthrough of a super difficult box, and I think it's something that's possible. So
yeah, so we are trying to get some
recent Hack the Boxes.
Yeah, we are trying to do some of the difficult ones, just because that'd be really cool to talk about. Hopefully, yeah, I'm guessing as long as they're not just like overly complicated guess exploit boxes where you have to just guess tedious things.
Yeah.